Hello there, you're watching or listening to The Designated Pundits, and today we're doing our 2026 team preview for FC Dallas. You know the deal. If you're watching this video, we're covering all 30 Major League Soccer teams. So whether it's your favorite team or your opponent, we're bringing on specialist experts from all around the league to preview each and every one. Make sure you subscribe, you hit that bell icon to get notified when we go live. You can find us on YouTube, your favorite podcast platform, including Spotify now with video. So let's get right into it. Get in the chat. If you have any questions, we'll pull it right up. I'm Bob here with Scott, and today we have special guest Jose Tellez. It's Bro Migo on social media and head of Golz TV. Let us know where you can find your work.
Yeah, man. Golz TV, everything. Find Golz TV on socials, on YouTube specifically. A lot of MLS content pumping out for the new season. So excited to be here, Bob. Thanks again for having me back, man.
Thank you for being there. Scott, how you doing today?
Doing great. I'm always excited about this. I'm always excited to see Jose because, these are always some of the best conversations that we have all year long.
You can feel the energy coming through the screen. I don't know if it's just me.
Let's get it, man. Let's get it.
Let's go.
I hate when it's all on me to do the energetic thing. Recap of the 2025 FC Dallas season shows an 11-11-12 record. You lost to Red Bull in the U.S. Open Cup round of 16 and were eliminated by the Vancouver Whitecaps in the first round of the playoffs. Overall, not a very successful season, but it was a playoff season, so there were some positives to take away from it. Let's take a quick look at how they ended where they did. 52 goals scored, that's 7th in the West. 55 goals against was 9th in the West. The -3 goal differential was 6th in the West, which kind of puts you where you landed. I have some storylines from 2025 I want to briefly touch on, but first, just your thoughts on the 2025 season.
Well, after you put it so gently there, Bob, I appreciate that. I would say it was a roller coaster of emotions. Best way to put it. Probably one of the worst starts we could have, considering the expectations coming in. And then when everybody was at their lowest point, the team found a way to get rid of Lucho Acosta and turn the entire team around to salvage whatever was remaining of the 2025 season. All in all, I would agree with the last statement you made, which was we ended up where we were probably most likely to end up with the team we have on the roster, Red Dot 7th place.
All right, so let's take a look at some storylines. This is kind of the things that, for me, defined FC Dallas this season. You might disagree. For me, it was the year of midfield signings. Lucho Acosta was brought in preseason. That was a huge addition at the number 10. Kak was brought in during the midseason. You also had this weird slump, May 4th to July 17th. The record was 1 win, 3 draws, and 7 losses during that stretch. And if you take away that stretch, they were 10-8-4 over the rest of the season. Much different storyline from the beginning and the end than the middle. And you guys got one of the toughest draws in Major League Soccer. Not only did you get Vancouver Whitecaps for the first 2 games of the MLS playoffs, you also had them on decision day. So your final 3 games of the season were against the best team in the Western Conference. There's a lot of ups, there's a lot of downs, but there's nothing boring here.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that. You know what? I would agree. These probably are the 3 biggest headlines you could take away to summarize 2025. And if you look at the slump and the timelines that are there, want to bet, of course, the end of that slump really closely coincides with Acosta moving on. And yeah, man, I mean, decision day, we all knew it was going to be Vancouver. Did not see a scenario where we would draw Vancouver. I mean, by the time decision day got here, we saw that, right? But going into even the latter half of the season, I just didn't think we would get them to the final 3 games. So winning one of those was, I guess, its own sort of moral victory at the end there, but clear gap, right, between us and 7th and Vancouver making it all the way to MLS Cup final.
Yeah. Absolutely. So let's touch on some goal scores as Scott's bringing himself back on camera here. We have Petar Musa with 18 goals, 6 assists, one of the top scorers, contributors in Major League Soccer. Anderson Julio with 6 and 1. Luciano Acosta with 5 and 1. Great name, not showing up on the score sheet quite as much as we would want him to. Then you got Logan Farrington with 5 and 3, Shaq Moore 3 and 2, and Patrick Delgado only 1 goal, but 6 contributions. Let's talk about these contributors here.
Yeah, I think one, I mean, seeing Pitar's numbers, man, the guy is elite when it comes to MLS talent, but it feels very similar to like, I don't know, a Christian Benteke situation out in DC, right? I mean, an insanely gifted player with not so gifted talent around him. And it's not that that's Dallas talent is essentially, it's not like the drop off is massive, but it's very noticeable. You can see the numbers. Anderson Julio, not bad for his first season. Lucho, you're 100% right. Numbers were mid's not even a strong enough word. I think with Lucho, I don't want to go as far. I think the lazy argument is to say that he got old, he fell off, and just needed to move on. From my perspective, just a terrible fit with what Quill wanted to do in Dallas, and he was not ready to put the work in to get the contributions that he needed. Everything else lines up. I think Logan is someone that I'm looking at very closely. We'll talk about it a little bit as we preview 2026, but he's one that I'm really looking at for hopefully a big season in 2026.
Absolutely. And for Acosta, this was his moving on. This was supposed to be the rebirth. It was not. And that kind of leaves you guys in a little bit of a bad spot when I go to the next slide of players out. You lose Luciano Acosta. Your goalkeeper went to Ajax in Martin Pais. You had Inesali, Diego Pepe, and Sebastian Pedrino. Overall, I mean, it's a lot of you have your 10 and your goalie. Those are two very important positions on the field. A couple of depth pieces there. Let's talk about the players that are outgoing.
Yeah, I think Lucho, it had to happen. I was screaming for it in the last window when it happened. I thought the season's chalked and we're just going to figure it out. The shameful part about that, at least up to this point at the time of recording, is that we haven't yet figured out how to fill that gap. Martin Boss, it's kind of crazy that I've gotten so many like texts and DMs about like Boss going, and how do I feel about that? It's a massive loss. On paper, it's definitely a big loss. I'm not going to sit here and say it isn't, but we've been preparing for this. Coyote's been starting the latter half of last season, the playoff push, if you will, and earned the right to keep his spot for at least the closing part of 2025. This is a new season, but I think this was always the plan. It does hurt to see Boss leave. I love him. But I think the plan was always for him to go back to Europe at some point, and now he has a chance to prove himself there. So I don't think this is a crazy list of players out, but we still have some gaps to fill.
In looking at the actual analytic numbers, like the win above replacement, if you will, like the baseball term for Pais, actually doesn't have him as a top goalkeeper in Major League Soccer. I was actually quite surprised to look at those advanced analytics. Of course, soccer, we like to not use advanced analytics. There's a very big debate on what those are worth, but yeah, you have some players incoming too that we got to talk about. Ron Binyamin, Herman Johansson, he's a projected starter, and Jonathan Sirois, one of the Canadian goalkeepers, who I think he's not the player you bring in just to sit in the back of the bench. We do know that we're going to project Collodi to have that position, but I think that there's some serious competition there. And he's the kind of player who is going to press for minutes.
I agree. I'm actually really curious to see how this competition at the keeper spot develops. I'll be honest. I know Coyote's probably going to on paper be the number one in the depth chart because of how last season concluded. But I agree. I don't think you trade for someone like that to have him just be, the backup. I think Quill wants competition week in and week out, which if you think about it, Dallas has not had really, and I don't know how long. While Boss has been there, he's kind of been the, head and shoulders above anyone else keeper or even, like I said, player on the roster. In his position. So I feel like this is good. We haven't seen this. Dallas fans haven't seen this in a little while. Competition at the keeper spot. So that should be interesting. Outside of that, Johansson, I'm just really curious to see what the Quill system looks like with potentially, according to all the rumors, right, a better wingback. Dallas fans know that we fly through the wingback positions, and under Quill, that's where all of the development of our play happens. And the verticality of it all. So if this guy is, as fast as everyone's saying he is and as good of a wingback as everyone's saying he is, then hopefully he's a pretty versatile piece for us.
Love it there. And you also brought in 4 homegrowns, 2 super draft picks. I add that as a little, end of graphic addition there. But as we know, Dallas, these homegrowns and super draft picks can turn into real players there. Anyone you're excited about on the back end there?
No, I think the homegrown's always kind of like a wait and see, but there will be moments that they get 100%. Quill's kind of that got that Dallas burn, FC Dallas DNA in him. So we will utilize them 100%. I do think we'll also see like past draft picks like Sam Sarver as an example. Not have a breakout season. That might be, I mean, although he had a crazy season for North Texas SC last year. But I think we'll see more of those guys as well. Signings and draft picks and homegrown signings. So yeah, but nothing major at this moment.
Let's then take a look at what the depth chart might look like. We think this is going to be a 5-3-2 or a 5-2-1-2, depending on your way of looking at it, with the width being provided by these big wing backs here. Herman Johansson, a new player. We're going to put him on the right. Assume that is his starting position. Behind him, Lucius Deedson, Sam Server, Enzo Newman, all those guys. And then on the left side, we're going to move the right back, Kumungo, to that side, and he's got Torquato, Baran, guys like that behind him. Before we go anything else, let's talk about the wings and what we think they're going to be expected to do on the field, because that's always an interesting thing that kind of sets up the rest of the team.
Yeah, I think with Johansson, I don't really know what to expect considering he's a new signing. I think from what I see on like his game tape, he's got a lot of pace. I think he's versatile enough. He does also have plenty of minutes at his previous club as a winger. So I think he can offer a lot just down that right flank. But again, it's still to be determined, right? How he adjusts to MLS and everything else. Kumungo is an interesting one because we tested him a lot at left wing back last year, right wing back as well. He's left footed. So he's really going to be there because he couldn't tack it as a winger, if we're being frank. Didn't have the finishing ability, at least not consistently. He got some crazy games with a brace here or there, but nothing consistent enough to say, hey, that's going to be a guy we continue to outright play in that winger position. So this makes more sense. He'll have more opportunities to carry the ball and utilize his pace, but like he won't have as much pressure on him to deliver in the final third. So the two wing backs are fine. I still think there's room to upgrade. I really do. But I understand if things are limited, especially with the stadium undergoing renovation and things like that now. So we might have to be happy with what we have here.
Take us through the rest of the back line there. Back three. Are those the starters that you see?
If Nolan Norris starts over Ibiaga, one, it's probably justified. I'm not a fan of Ibiaga at all. I think he's so weak when it comes to crosses, defending those 1v1 opportunities. He kind of has these blackout moments where I question decision-making quite a bit. And he's just really not that physical when it comes to the 1v1 duels also. I think he sometimes loses those. Yorogida has to cover for him quite a bit. But I don't know if Nolan Norris is the guy either, or Abubakar for that matter. Like, I think we have several depth pieces that we potentially might also be slotting into starting pieces on this team in the back line. I think the center back position for me is one of the two biggest holes. I think we need to, if it were up to me, find a way. I don't know how, but find a way to upgrade. I don't know what the funds look like right now and where we could still make some decent signings, but in a three-back system, it's going to be difficult, I think. Yorogida, to me, is a monster. I love him as our kind of our anchor center back. And Shaq Moore is not what he used to be pace-wise, but he still has a good head on his shoulders. And is physical enough. I don't mind him playing at that. He
always played a couple inches bigger than he was. Whenever I looked up his height and weight, I'm like, that's it. That's what I remember him. I think it was Nashville. He was with running up and down the sideline, and he would bump into someone and they would fly. I mean,
he's got that dog in him, like 100%.
100%.
Nolan Norris is another guy too. He's small, small, kind of smaller. He's brought up as a left back who used to be a midfielder. So like I just think, I don't know. To me, it looks like we're still piecing that together, and I question throughout the whole season what that could look like. So we'll see about the back line.
It's an interesting one. This back line gave up 1.6 goals per game in 2025. Like, it's got to be better if this team's gonna. I feel like the West especially is improving.
Yeah, it's got to be better with a half step back at the keeper position. A half step back. Maybe
I agree. And I will say, I need Alvaro Agosto to I should start seeing more of the potential this season. Last season, he was such a raw product. He had just gotten promoted for like 1 or 2 games. physically, he's big. He's like a prototype center back, if you will, to an extent. Like you like what you see as far as attributes go, but I really want to start to see him get a few more minutes so I can understand what he brings to the table before I guess we go out and shop around for a center back. But I do think we'll need help.
I think we've talked about the defense a lot. I mean, I would love to say I think you guys have a goalkeeper problem, but we got to move on. Tell us about the midfield. Kayik and Christian Kappas in the middle there. What is their role? What are they bringing to the team, and how does that function?
I'm actually not mad at the midfield, at least in this specific duo, right? Kayik and Kappas. I think Kayik is going to be someone who's, I mean, dude's got that Brazilian fire in him, man. He's at his age is already kind of a destroyer. I think he can push forward in a box-to-box fashion and pull up to the to the 18-yard line and crack one every now and then, but it's not really his bag. It's more about breaking up play, and at times, if we need him to be somewhat of a ball carrier, progress the ball out of the back line and into that crossing into half field and really finding somebody. But at the end of the day, he's in there to be physical. I think Kappas is kind of the same thing, but he's got more confidence on the ball. He really can kind of ping the ball here and there if he needs to. So the combination of those two as box-to-box midfielders, I think that it makes all the sense in the world. I'm not mad at that. Mm-hmm. The 10 is where it gets dicey for me, very dicey. Kind of how I felt about center back. I think Delgado is good. He's very raw. You saw his assist numbers. Like, they're not bad, but we tried him in a lot of different places last year. I think he will end up kind of honing his own attacking wise. Like, he'll be decent, on the attacking side of the ball. He'll get a good cracked shot from distance a couple times this season. He'll have his assist numbers looking pretty good overall. But I think what he also gives you is on the defensive side, that work rate. Like, he will press from the front next to Musa, next to Farrington. And he gives Eric Quill like some of that, those stressful situations he wants to create to win the ball back up as high as possible. So for him, for someone like that, I think that's a lot of the value that he carries. By the way, the last thing I wanted to add there, Scott, was just with Pomacall. I have no idea what to expect. So if I've been telling everybody on these shows, like, hey, your guess is as good as mine. He could be good this season. I haven't seen him play a full season in quite some time, so I have no idea.
Quite some time. Sometimes I forget how long Pomacall has actually been in the league. I still think of him as like this youth prospect, but that's the
last time we saw him. It's the last time we saw him.
Aged out of prospect territory for me a couple of seasons ago.
But you still think of it. I feel like you know what I mean. It's like how the '90s are always 10 years ago. Like, it doesn't really matter.
Yes. Yeah. Who was the other player we were talking about? The other U.S. men's national. Jackson Ewell.
Jackson Ewell. Yep.
Yeah. Same thing. He's 30. He came in with a player who retired. Who's the Nick Lima retired, and they were teammates.
They were teammates.
The outside back, Nick Lima? Yeah. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's the Jesse Lingard thing. Everybody's like, "Oh, one day he's going to hit." And you're like, "He's 29 years old. This is it."
He's already there.
I was going to say, the work rate, like, I think is sometimes an undervalued trait in that number 10 position, because if you can create problems, if you can create stress, there's a lot of back lines that are actually not very well equipped to deal with pressure.
Like, and they're all trying to play out of the back.
Everybody wants to play out the back. Yeah. So I think that can be undervalued, but at the same time, you're playing in that number 10 spot. You got to bring goals and assists.
Yeah, I'll be honest, man. I don't know. It's the biggest gaping hole from my perspective. It's the one Lucho was supposed to fill, did not. Granted, we got some good return back on that, but I don't believe we're equipped at the 10. I think a lot of our goals are not going to be creative ones. They're going to happen in transition. They're going to happen with just balls coming in over the top from the wing backs, early crosses. I don't know how many we get through breaking down a back line.
That might be tough. That might be something you guys are not well equipped for. But what you are equipped for is center forward play. Petr Musa and Logan Farrington leading the line. These are two center forwards that I really, really like these two guys.
Same.
So I won't hear it when you say bad things about them.
Nothing bad to say. Two things I will say. One is that I think if there's someone who's going to probably end up being our de facto number 10, it'll be Petr Musa. I think he'll just find a way to create moments for himself and anybody around him. And I think as a byproduct of that, I think Logan Farrington is my pick to have his breakout year. double-digit goals. I'd love to see somewhere, in the range of like 15 to 18 GA. That would be, I think, a great season for Farrington. And someone to complement Musa. We haven't had that since Musa's been in Dallas. Someone to keep up with him. Someone to offer him some respite right when he needs it, inevitably. So I don't know. There's a lot of pressure on Musa's shoulders. I would love it if Farrington was the man who stepped up this year.
I mean, if we look at goal contributions for this Dallas team last year, Petr Musa 25, Logan Farrington 8. He's second place for the team. And then Anderson
still pretty big drop off, though.
Still pretty big drop off. And then Anderson Julio with 7. I noticed he's not projected as a starter. I mean, that's kind of a guy, though, that I think people might recognize his name.
Yeah,
I certainly do, because he came from Salt Lake, but he's got quite a highlight reel. Tell me a little bit about the depth then for those two spots.
Yeah, I think Julio will probably be the first man off the bench for either spot. I really do. I see a scenario where we're going to see Julio and Logan pair up together, provided that we're not desperately in need of goals from Musa. So I think Julio he offers verticality that the others really don't. Musa does, because he does have the right combination of like speed, size, touch on the ball in terms of trapping those long balls that come over the top. But Julio's just someone that you could send, right? Like literally 50-yard dash between you and the center back. Let's see who wins. So I think he's going to offer that late in games, but I do see plenty of scenarios where it's going to be potentially him and Logan. And again, I think Logan steps into more of a Musa role in that scenario, and it just finds a way to ping in those through balls over the top.
I think Julio's best role, anyways, is as a impact sub, which is not to slander his abilities at all. I just think that's what he's really, really good at. And then as a spot starter, but as a regular everyday starter, I don't think that's his most effective thing. But off the bench, he can be killer.
Yeah, I would agree. I would totally agree with that. So I'm hoping he has a good year too. Hopefully now his feet are very grounded, very wet. Let's get to work, and hopefully he's ready to have a big season.
All right. Let's look at some of these questions, storylines. This I know is for Bob's. We're getting into Bob's article territory that he will be publishing on Hooligan Soccer. So let's start with a player outside the starting 11 who has the best chance at winning a starting job.
I got this one. Can I do this? I got this one.
Go ahead.
A left winger's not on the team yet.
Bob, every preseason, man, you get me good. You get me good. I would agree with that. I would agree with that. A player outside our starting 11 who has the best chance at winning a starting job, I think it probably has to be, dude, just because we don't really have anyone there. It's got to be Pomykal, I think, in my mind. There isn't anyone else who's a creative midfielder in this FC Dallas roster. There just really isn't. There really isn't anyone who has that. Paxton does, but we haven't seen him put it together for double-digit games in 4 seasons now. So at least it feels that long. So I question a lot about his availability, but I think if Delgado isn't offering what we need, like you said yourself, Scott, right? Not just goals, but just find a way to open up our 2 strikers who are pretty damn good in their own right, then I think Quill will have to find answers, and Paxton could be that guy.
I love it. What are some expectations?
I don't have any expectations anymore, Bob.
What could a realistic expectation be? But for me, so look, I think of this a little differently than people. I'm not saying give me a spot that you land. I'm not saying playoffs.
All right.
For me, a realistic expectation would be become more solid in this shape, create an identity, and have a path going forward for 2027. I would be ecstatic if that was my team.
Yeah. Realistic team expectations. We started last season, so I think it's a good one because I think it doesn't hinge upon success in any way. I would want to see Quill more effectively. He's already started it, but more effectively integrate the youth in this team. We signed a bunch of them. Let's not just sign them and not use them, right? I want, if we're gonna play have the kids play them. I would love to see kind of what that looks like. Start to give them a little bit more experience. I think we're going to need it, especially in scenarios where we already lost Boss. What if we lost Musa in the not too distant future? So just got to figure out what a world without him could look like.
there are rumors about Musa going to Europe.
Yeah.
But
So
I'll give you another realistic team expectation. Improve your home record.
yeah, that's as realistic as it should be. You are 100%. You're an idealist. You're an idealist, Scott. I like that. I like that about you.
It's six wins, 3 draws, 8 losses. I think a very realistic thing is to turn some of those losses into draws, and suddenly you're a better home team. Things feel better. As a road team, you were actually not that bad last year. Pretty good, all things considered. So that home form kind of let you down a little.
Yeah. When half the stadium's missing, man, it's just it's actually the worst. Actually, the worst. Those run. I mean, it looks terrible on TV. Everybody sees it, right? The tarps over the seats. I'm like, this looks bad.
It does look bad. Let's talk about some other storylines. It's somebody who just turns on a random Dallas game mid-season, whatever. They don't know anything about the team. What are some storylines they should be looking for?
I think if you're a new fan who wants to figure out who the next, best player to come out of MLS to another league is going to be, I mean, again, watch Musa. I think Scott already kind of alluded to it, and the rumors have been there even last season, right? That we could find a way to just sell him and make that money back and then some. But I mean, I firmly believe since he's been in the league, in my opinion, he is the most underrated attacker in MLS. He's top 5, top 10 statistically across his first couple seasons. And with all of that said, rarely gets talked about. So I would say him, probably the best all-around player on the team. And, we follow his career now because he's probably going to be on his way back to Europe in the not distant future.
If he did exactly what he has done in Dallas, in LA, nothing different, exactly what he has done, he would be all over MLS's media. They would be singing his name all the time.
It's insane, man. Last thing I'll say on that part too. I had this argument with friends all the time, but I was like, to me, it's the gap in the clinical nature as finishers between someone like Musa versus like a Denny Bouanga is massive to me. I think Musa is such a better finisher and goal scorer than Denny Bouanga. And if Bouanga could even close that gap a little, he'd be so much better.
Yeah, but hey, we've talked about the Messi effect. Players are going there and taking the roster pay cut, knowing they're having eyes on them and they can move up to the next level. There's no Messi in FC Dallas right now, and players don't have that same opportunity. I really think that's a really nice thought there, Scott. That's a really astute analysis there. Let's move now, talking about astute analysis, to some tactics. These are a quick Q&A. And we're going to talk about what styles is FC Dallas going to match up well against this season?
Match up well against it's a trick question. I would say honestly styles that are similar to ours. I feel like teams that are going to just try and play vertical against us. I honestly think that not vertical, the opposite. We're going to try and really kind of control possession. We see Austin do this against us every season. I feel like it never works out for them, but allow themselves to be open and try to control most of the ball in our half. I think in those scenarios, we will thrive because of how quick we are in transition.
And any team that gives you space to get the ball up the wing and put a contested ball into the box, I think that's going to be bad. Musa and Farrington are going to feast on that kind of stuff. Any team that can kind of lock them up and force you guys to have to break them down leading into the next one, who are you really matching up poorly against? And is that really the big one?
Yeah, transition teams, man. I think those teams who could do it against us, because again, what will end up happening is Yorogida, he does it so much, he's going to end up committing himself to a point where we have maybe 2 center backs back there that are not as fast or strong as he is. And when we inevitably have a ball come over the top that we have to deal with, one, we've historically been bad at crossing, defending crosses. But then 2, it's just based on numbers alone. There's always going to be a mismatch in transition. So, yeah, I'd say those types of teams are, based on last season, pretty prone to hurt us.
If you had to pick one player to improve more than any other this season, who's going to improve the most on FC Dallas?
You already teased Logan Farrington, so maybe give us a different name.
Yeah, I think Michael Coyote is going to turn some heads this season. I think a lot of fans in general are doubting him because of who Martin Boss was, because of where he went. But I I see a lot in the kid. I kind of felt that way since he was playing for North Texas SC. So I think for me, just based on expectation and the fact that he's still kind of just this up and coming keeper who has a real competition now, I actually believe he will find a way to secure the number one position despite the competition and be our most improved player.
Awesome. I mean, I love that, and I think he's got every chance because Jonathan Sarlah's resume isn't that great. Let's look at another player. Which player regresses in 2026?
Oh man,
anybody coming back down to earth?
Coming back down to earth. I mean, because of how much of a ceiling he set for himself. I mean, I hate saying it, but to expect that Musa could just continue to be the guy every single game and deliver at this rate, I know he can. Will it happen? It's the thing that most qualifies for the answer of this question because no one else is really delivering, right? The regression should happen at the top. So I hope not, but if it does, I hope that others are there to pick up the pieces. Like I said, breakout season from Farrington. I see, again, someone saying Nolan Norris in the chat. I think it's a fantastic shout. I think Kamungo maybe stepping up in a big way this year too. Anderson Julio having better numbers than he hit in 2025. There's opportunities to fill the gaps if Musa does regress.
I like it.
Love it. So any final thoughts about FC Dallas this season?
Final thoughts? No, probably going to be, it'll feel similar to 2025 in terms of the outcome. I think the vibes themselves that the fans feel week in and week out will be better. I think we'll see more consistency, but I do think that we'll normalize on the away form and home form hopefully picks back up while discovering some promising talent along the way. So I still think we'll make playoffs, but it may be a wild card spot or just above that.
Almost before closing time, the first comment comes in. Nolan Norris will go up a level this season. Yes, we think so too. That's why we kind of have him as a projected starter. Although I will miss Abubakar. I always, he has his hair is so prominent. It looks like the little Sims, you could always spot him on the field. I love players when they dye their hair a silly color or wear their jersey tucked in. It just my eyes are so lazy. I jump right on that. I love it.
I love it.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. This is a 2026 preview for FC Dallas. Make sure you join us as we preview each and every of the 30 Major League Soccer teams. Thank you for joining us, and have a great night.